Welcome to this channel. This channel is for education and culture based on historical and scientific evidence. So in the past 2 days, many of our Wing Chun friends asking me, is that 1700 Wing Chun? Is that an internal Wing Chun? All sort of stuff. So today I like to share with you technically to put the rest to all of this. I have the oldest Wing Chun. I have 1700 Wing Chun, so forth, so forth, so forth. Until like today, I have a movie Wing Chun. So this video is going to present the technically what is the Chinese martial art is about. Because what you see in past 100 years until today, especially those internal things, the qi, all these things, are not traditional Chinese martial art. Those are something else. So, to talk about Chinese martial arts, we need to go to 1560. That is the time of General Qi Guang, 470 years ago. He has to fight the Japanese warrior who on one hand with a samurai sword, another hand good in jiu-jitsu. That is the opponent where the General Qi Guang's army faced. So that's the bottom line. It is about war, it's about life and death. So, General Qi Guang at his time have already formulated out in today's language, fighting is a momentum game, playing the change of directions or distance, changing of the distance, changing of the directions, and changing of the level. So at the General Qi Guang time, that's what it is. Fighting is a momentum game, which is changing the distance, changing the directions, and changing the level. And this momentum is a dynamic, continue going on until the opponent drop. This is the bottom line of the martial arts or fighting arts. So this is the bottom line of the General Qi Guang's traditional Chinese martial art, which is for real. Now, within the changing of distance, directions, and level, there are three types of fighting style. The first type is what they call the long fist. You fight in the distance where you extend your arm or your leg. You can hit the opponent, and the opponent can hit you with extension. That's called long fist. The second type of the style of art is the sticking or the short strike art, where it goes this close. Okay? And it be able to trip you, to throw you, to strike you, to lock you up, joint lock, so forth. Second type. The third type is going down to the ground to kick you, to grab. Those are the third type. So 470 years ago is already like that. And there are two zones in the fighting. The zone where you can hit your opponent and your opponent can hit you. That is called the combat zone or the dangerous zone or the deadly zone. Because when you get into this zone, your performance counts. It is a continual exchanging strike, exchanging blows. Yeah, you take blows, and you can go up, down, changing angle and changing distance. All those mean you can have takedown, you can have throw, you can have strike. All this. This is the dangerous zone. In this zone, you better have your stamina in today's words. In the ancient word, it's like you better be able to keep your breathing, your intra-abdominal pressure, so that you be able to fight here. This is the dangerous zone. Outside the zone, it is not the fighting zone, where you can breathe naturally, normally, but over here is your opponent will try to break your rhythm, break your breathing, break everything, and you're doing the same with him. So it's all manipulative to zone. Okay? Now, I don't invent this. This is General Qi Ji Guang. And this thing passed down to Shaolin Short Strike. And Shaolin Short Strike passed this down to Wing Chun 1850. Yes, there's only Wing Chun 1850 in the history of China. There is no such thing as Wing Chun 1700 internal whatever. Okay? Now, the characteristics of Wing Chun 1850s is the sticking body short strike, which is from the Qi Ji Guangs. Remember, we talked about the sticking, this close fighting. Those guys have to face BJJ, not BJJ, Jiu-Jitsu fighter. Okay, that's in history. Now, so at this range, this is the close range fighting, which is the uniqueness of Wing Chun. Even though Wing Chun 1850, you have all this, the changing angle, changing distance, changing level, the three style of fighting, but the uniqueness is this. Now, so it has four arms. One arm, the leg, which is you're going to attack him. The body is going to attack him, and you have two hands. Now, this is the sticking body short strike of 1850. This distance, you can look at it today, is like the standing grappling distance, where in standing grappling, people use their leg, use their body, and using the hand to take you down, to lock you, and so forth, so forth. Okay? Now, 1870 Wing Chun is no longer doing this range where you can fight with the standing grappling. It is in distance. This distance, that's why this is called the close distance. This is called the sticking distance. Today's Wing Chun is all, since the creations of the four sets, is all belong to this close distance. It never is a sticking body short strike type of art where you have four hands. Okay? So there's history. Whatever it is in the history, I tell you whatever it is. Now, as for those chi orders flying around, sorry, even 460 years ago, 470 years ago, it really doesn't exist in a real battlefield. People don't train those movie kind of stuff or magic kind of stuff, because when you fight with the professional in the battlefield, you can check all the history from now 1560, you see none of those exist. Okay? So there's internal, as what today people want to say. Also, you need to be watch out. When you fight here, when you get into the zone of fighting here, you expect to do what? To exchange blow here, to exchange strike here. Thus, sticking body 1850, that is no tan bong fok like today. It never exists. Why? It's like the grappler. When you get this close, he's going to using different techniques, moving in different directions, attack you with your leg, with his leg and the body to take you down or to lock you down or to sweep you down, all kinds of stuff. So at this distance, there is no such thing as tan bong fo. At this distance, a short strike art is only have continue changing the distance, back and forth swaying here, continues changing the directions, continue changing the up and down, the level to do the strike. So for example, if you face a grappler, you go in, of course he's going to change. He's going to do all the things he can do to take you down, to sweep you, to throw you, to lock you up, to choke the hell out of you. Those is what he's doing. So the short strike people, when they go in, for sure, for example, is going to do a slam in from the elbow, where your leg attack him, your body lean him, you slam in his elbow. Of course, your opponent is going to dodge it and try to grab you from behind or something. So this is the attack, and because the opponent move, I have to move. Another strike in with the leg, another strike in with the hand. There's no parry, there's no resisting. Okay? He change, you strike him, he change again, you strike him. It continues like that until one guy drop. That is the short strike. And the footwork, or better saying that how one carry this attack in the different means or different directions and all change, is called what? Plum flower footwork. Okay? You go, you attack forward, you attack backward, you changing, you attack here, your hand is keeping attacking. That is the plum flower. It's better to say that it is the plum flower way of how you carry your body in this distance. Okay? So there's the reality of the sticking body short strike with the forearm. So in the Xiu Lim Tao, like in the 1850, what do you think? What do you think when they do this type of stuff means? Well, if I am with a grappler, he is in this distance. He might tie me up with his both arms. This is his face. This is what I want. This is all the short strike techniques. Where my body, my leg is playing with him. This is my tools where he had used two hands to grab me. So that's what happened in the Xiu Lim Tao. Same thing in the Xiu Lim Tao. When you have this, what is that? that is keeping changing. Okay? So, that is a reality. If you want to face a grappler, standing grappling, you have to proficient in the tools. Like in the movie, the Tan Sao, all the striking with a chain pan, it will not work. You can see in the UFC since 1996 until today. You lost this part, you lost the body part, your hand is in single direction, people's going to go different directions to take you out. So it is a continuous change of techniques, and the body is keeping changing to exchange the strike with the opponent and exchange blow. In a really simple word, it is called when you are in this zone, fighting zone, you are struggling. Struggling. Yes, struggling. Because you are not beating somebody who is weak or never trained. Your opponent is well trained and he's good at this range, like the standing grappler. So how are you going to play? You need all this forehand activate, and it has to be continue on changing. Attack changing. Thus, it is a very different way of fighting compared with the standing grappling. So it's like a snake fighting with, say, uh, those animal like a dog, the snake fighting with the dog and those kind of stuff. So you never have this tampon foot stand like this, punching like this. This type of stuff, even 460 years ago, you get wiped out. Because it doesn't make any sense. So in the past 26 years since 1996, you can see all this doesn't work. It is because all of this idea and concept is a movie acting stuff where you have a distance like this, you have a straight line like this. In the real life, come on. Okay? So this is the reality. So if Chinese martial art, if Kung Fu, if Wing Chun want to participate in the world martial art today and move forward, one better know what this General Qi Ji Guang Shaolin Sword Strike, all this basic I just present to you. I do not add one single words or my opinion or my whatever interpretation. If you don't have that, you can't fight. Forget about it. You're not trained for it. Okay? Not to mention, you need to have your proficiency. How you use your forehands. Because your grappling opponent is going to use what the best they have. Or what they proficient in. So this is a reality. You need to know. All this movie is movie. All this whatever internal power, it never exists in the real fight. When you're facing a pro or a very aggressive guy, so stop the keeping talking about, oh, this is for street fighting. What street fighting? Do you know all this, what General Qi Ji Guang presenting 470 years ago? Is summarized up for you, which I just shared with you. Now, so for past 2 weeks, I have shared 3 reform video. You need to put that back to your 小领头 for the basic training. Otherwise, you cannot play here. You want to play here? Look at what happened past 26 years. And sure, many people know it doesn't work, and then you go train in BJJ, train in other arts. But the Wing Chun doesn't work. And then many people add in this internal Tai Chi, whatever. Have anybody see any Tai Chi, Fa Jing, everything winning in the real war in China for past 460 years since General Qi Ji Guang? You want to look at the fight like in the Macau in the 1950s on the Tai Chi fight. How is it supposed to fight in today's martial art world when the standard is rising up to today's? This is today's standard is at the General Qi Ji Guang's time standard. Only today is sports, not war like General Qi Ji Guang time. So without all this reform thing get in, one couldn't even stand in this clothes. One couldn't even use the body to continue to change. Not to mention the next I want to share with you on the hand. How are you going to use it? How are you going to have the strength, the dynamic strength? So this full video, if it's not restored, you don't have martial art. Forget about it. So this is a straight talk. Many people will not like me. Hey, make a decisions. Do you want Wing Chun to stay alive? Does Wing Chun mean dignity and responsibility? Or you want to keeping preaching or selling garbage? Who is the victims? The student who have no idea what fighting is victims. Oh, Fajing. Oh, this way, that way. Try it out. In the MMA ring. In the Thai boxing ring. Well, it works. Well, that's very different than, oh yeah, I go to MMA, I practice BJJ, and then I put a t-shirt, Wing Chun. You think your opponent don't know what you're doing? So this is what I like to share with you. Forget about this Wing Chun orders, Wing Chun 1600, Wing Chun whatever. This is the bottom line. If we don't have this bottom line, we have no Wing Chun. Hope that everybody see what it is. Either you want to wake up or keeping belief that if you do your 小领头 this way, you have this magic power. That's up to you. But in the reality, as soon as you get into this ring, it is a struggle. You're going to exchange punch, exchange strike, and you need to train that every day. There's no such thing as one techniques, or Wing Chun is have three techniques, Tan Bong Fu. At this distance, people don't care for your Tan Bong Fu. Because at this distance, attacking is the bottom line. It's not like your Tan, your all those kind of stuff. For movie, sure, you can make a good movie. Once you step in here, go get a grappling friend and see what happens when you get this close. Can you do your Tan Bong Fu? Or the General Qi Ji Guang is right. When you go down there, you strike him with the forehand, you changing, he changing, you changing, you have to exchange blow. Sometimes That's the reality. If you never train that way, you are not in the world of martial arts. So this is what I like to share with you. I rather to be a bad guy to talk straight than looking at all those victims of the victims all march into the battlefield unprepared, no idea what they are facing. That's called responsibility. Okay?